So as I'm sure we all know, this is a webinar titled Artificial Intelligence, Technology, and the Law. Uh, the idea behind this webinar was the recognition that artificial intelligence has long been a fascinating subject for humanity. The idea of being able to engineer technology that could think and function like a human has captured myriad imaginations worldwide, from the making of movies such as I, Robot in 2004 to the development of the hallmark artificial intelligence chatbot we know as ChatGPT in 2022. In recent years, artificial intelligence has experienced a significant surge in development, expanding our understanding of what artificial intelligence is and what it has the potential to be beyond the boundary of technology that just mimics what it means to be human. From self-driving technology employed by Uber to artificial intelligent art created with the aid of artificial intelligence programs, the scope of what artificial intelligence incorporates is essentially limitless. In a world where artificial intelligence is rapidly becoming a part of our everyday lives and the technology we regularly use, the question has become, naturally, how do we as people benefit from this technology and what key issues about its use are raised? More specifically, today we seek to answer the question of what role do lawyers play in a world dominated by artificial intelligence? How can we, as professionals, maximize its use to ensure the efficiency of our own practices while positioning ourselves to provide key information needed by our clients in this tech-transformed and tech-focused world? My name is Ama Obese-Jecty. I am your host for this webinar and an associate of Koranteng and Koranteng Legal Advisors. Our wonderful managing partner is Ifwa Koranteng, of course, and we generally specialize in corporate and commercial matters. I will begin by giving a brief overview of what artificial intelligence is, its benefits, its disadvantages, and its regulation in Ghana. And then I will proceed to introduce our illustrious speakers who will take us through their various topics. In just a moment, I will proceed to share my screen and the overview will begin. All right. To my dear panelists, I hope you can all see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay. And to the participants, if you could just maybe put a thumbs up in the chat if you can see my screen, that would be great. And we will proceed shortly. All right. So generally speaking, this overview is going to deal with the questions of what is artificial intelligence, what are the types of artificial intelligence that we can currently find in 2023, what are the latest developments in artificial intelligence, as well as the benefits and disadvantages of artificial intelligence, and a general overview of the regulatory framework for artificial intelligence in Ghana. As to the question of what artificial intelligence is, Oxford Languages has defined artificial intelligence as the theory and development of computer systems able to perform tasks normally requiring human intelligence such as visual perception, speech recognition, the ability to reason, that is to make decisions, and translation between languages, right? A more extensive, but at the same time, perhaps a simpler definition can be found by UNESCO in their survey on artificial intelligence needs in Africa that was conducted in 2019. Now, UNESCO defined artificial intelligence in their survey as the combination of technologies that enable machines capable of imitating certain functionalities of human intelligence, including such features as perception, learning, reasoning, problem solving, language interaction, and even producing creative work. Now, as I'm sure we have realized, the key words in what is artificial intelligence seem to be human intelligence. We are looking at programs, machines, software that is capable of, to some degree, mimicking human intelligence and the way that human intelligence operates, right? John McCarthy, a man who is often recognized as inventing the term artificial intelligence in the year 1955, has said that every aspect of learning or any other feature of intelligence can, in principle, be so precisely described that a machine can be made to simulate it. An attempt will be made to find how to make machines use language, form abstractions and concepts, solve different kinds of problems now reserved for humans, and improve themselves. In looking at the types of artificial intelligence, normally when we think of artificial intelligence, it tends to, or we tend to imagine concepts such as robots, but artificial intelligence can often be as simple as facial recognition software on your phone or the autocorrect feature in your Microsoft Word. According to the current system of classification, there are 4 primary artificial intelligence types. We can speak of reactive artificial intelligence, limited memory, theory of mind, and self-aware artificial intelligence. And it is important to recognize that in speaking of these different types of artificial intelligence, we range from the simpler concepts of artificial intelligence to the more complicated, from those that mimic human intelligence to a lesser degree, to those that mimic human intelligence to a greater degree, in the order in which these types are listed. So in speaking of reactive AI, we are actually speaking of the most basic type of artificial intelligence. We are speaking of an artificial intelligence that, when provided a specific input, will always give a predictable output. As long as the input does not change, the output that you receive will stay the same. This AI is not considered as being able to learn actions or to conceive of past or future, and generally cannot function beyond the tasks that it was initially designed for. Examples of such AI may be seen in Deep Blue, right? The chess-playing IBM supercomputer that bested world champion Garry Kasparov. We recognize that when a specific input is made in a chess-playing machine, of course, the machine will give a specific output, right? Another example of reactive AI can be spam filters for our email that keep promotion and phishing attempts out of our inboxes. To explain simply, phishing is simply an attempt by which certain malicious persons on the internet attempt to grab your personal data through various means, right? The way that this AI works is that generally, certain keywords in text, that is certain inputs, will cause the AI to make a certain output, that is to move certain emails that have those keywords automatically into your spam folder. We can also see reactive AI in the Netflix recommendation engine, which makes movie and TV recommendations often based on your previous selections. Every recommended video that you see on Netflix has been selected by one algorithm or another. In fact, the company estimates its algorithms produce almost $1 billion a year in value from customer retention. So if nothing else, we can say that the Netflix algorithm most definitely works. These algorithms include such algorithms as because you watched, right? Videos that are recommended based on the similarity to other videos that you have watched, top ranking videos that generally look at the views that have been received in Netflix and then place that in your top picks recommendations. We also have the trending now algorithms, which looks at certain short-term trends and then makes recommendations based on those short-term trends. So for example, during a holiday season, you might find yourself being recommended more holiday-based movies and videos. And in the same way as all the other previous AI examples, we have our specific input, we have the designated output. Moving on to the second type of AI, we can speak of limited memory AI. Limited memory AI is considered to be more advanced than reactive AI. They can make the same decisions that reactive AI can make, but they also have the ability to learn from past inputs to some degree. And this helps them, in a sense, make better decisions, right? We can say that limited memory AI looks at historical, that is past, and observational data, that is data that it receives from its environmental surroundings, perhaps through sensors or other means, in combination with the inputs that it has already been programmed with, and then proceeds to make predictions and perform complex tasks as a combination of these two factors: pre-programmed information, past data, and then the data it has received in some sense from its surroundings. We can consider limited memory AI to be one of the most widely used types of artificial intelligence today. If we are looking at examples of limited memory AI, we can talk about virtual voice assistants. I'm sure all of us with phones, if you have an iPhone, you'll recognize Siri. If you have a Google phone, you will recognize Alexa or Google's other voice assistant, and so on and so forth, right? We can also speak of chatbots, which are often used to help in customer service. I know EcoBank has its own chatbot as part of its app, if you have the EcoBank banking app, and you can frequently interact with this chatbot to answer basic questions before you are recommended to customer service personnel, right? We can also speak about self-driving cars, which to some extent are able to sense objects in their surroundings, and then based on how they have been previously programmed, take certain decisions as to how best to drive in that moment, whether to slow down, whether to speed up, whether to change direction, etc., etc. Further examples of limited memory AI may include image recognition, whereby the artificial intelligence system may be given hundreds of thousands of images to process. It will store these images and to some degree learn from these images to determine the kind of outputs that it gives in future. The more images that the artificial intelligence system is able to look at, the faster it is able to learn and the more accurate it becomes. So for example, in dentistry, artificial intelligence has actually been used to identify tooth decay and cavities. It has done so fairly successfully. And as per a 2020 study, we actually see a 92.8 accuracy in identifying periapical lesions, or in layman's term, cavities. The third type of AI that we may speak to is theory of mind AI. Theory of mind AI deals with AI that has the ability to both understand and remember emotions. It is AI that is able to attribute a mental state to people, to comprehend to some degree their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, and to adjust their behavior based on the emotions that they perceive when dealing with people. Right. I think often when we speak of or think of artificial intelligence, what we have in mind is theory of mind AI, right? Theory of mind AI are therefore the AI that often display the ability to have true decision-making capacity, true decision-making capabilities similar to humans. I will now proceed to show you an example of theory of mind AI. I'm sure some of you may have come across this particular robot once or twice. If so, it should be like greeting an old friend. I present to you Sophia, right, of Hanson Robotics. Sophia was built or generated around 2017. And this is when she entered or she was presented at the Future Investments Initiative, right? Sophia will now proceed to speak a few words. As you can see, Sophia is an artificial intelligence robot that is, at least to some degree, right, able to grasp the concept of what is expected when we talk about certain emotions. Now, whether or not Sophia is actually truly able to feel those emotions, or whether we can say that Sophia is a self-actualized, fully realized being, is a different question, as we will see from the last type of AI. Now, the most advanced type of AI that we may speak of is self-aware AI. When we say that an artificial intelligence system has become self-aware, this will be when that artificial intelligence system has developed its own emotions, its own needs, its own desires. It is aware of and able to understand its own emotions and its reasons for having those emotions. Now, as far as it has been determined, we have not yet developed a self-aware AI, and it appears that the algorithms and the hardware that will be required to develop such an AI are not yet in existence. To this point, despite how human she may seem, Sophia is not in fact sentient, right? She is theory of mind AI in the sense that she can mimic human-like characteristics, but she is not self-aware AI in the sense that she doesn't actually have a consciousness or emotions, right? She's merely a technology that can learn and adapt to new situations over time. So we have gone through the different types of AI, and we'll now proceed to quickly go through the latest developments in AI, right? One area in which we have seen AI increase in its use is medicine, in the sense that instead of taking years to develop certain key vaccines, including the COVID vaccine, we have reduced this development time to a matter of months, right? Apart from the example of artificial intelligence helping to identify certain cavities, we also have the fact that artificial intelligence is increasingly being used in robotic surgeries. At the same time, we have seen a rise in language processing that focuses on creating, analyzing, and interpreting human language to accomplish tasks such as speech recognition, machine translation, handwritten character recognition, question answering, and information retrieval. Again, such language processing can be seen in voice assistants like Siri, right, as well as Google Alexa, I believe. We can also speak of, or actually, sorry, let me give you an example. So when we talk about language processing AI, we are looking at, for example, ChatGPT, right? We know that a lot of buzz has been created around ChatGPT in recent months. It is a natural language processing tool. It functions as a chatbot, which means that its core function is to mimic human emotion. ChatGPT can, by virtue of being a natural language processor, create scripts, plays, images, music, and even code on demand via conversations with the chatbot. It is now one of the world's most advanced language models when we're seeing a ChatGPT 4 to replace the previous ChatGPT versions, right? Another trend in artificial intelligence that we can speak of includes the augmented workforce. Human workers and digital workers have increasingly come together, collaborating in the workforce to increase safety and efficiency. At the same time, knowledge industries are increasingly making use of data. For example, in law, we have seen artificial intelligence increasingly helping with shifting through personal or pertinent information. Artificial intelligence can also help automate certain mundane tasks. And in healthcare and agriculture, it has increasingly been used in seed planting, invasive species tracking, automated car assembly, and to optimize certain production lines. Artificial intelligence, another development in artificial intelligence also consists of artificial intelligence-based cybersecurity. Cybercrime has been identified as a major threat to global prosperity by the World Economic Forum. And to the extent that we increasingly connect with the internet, we have increased exposure to cybercrimes. Artificial intelligence may help us in detecting suspicious activity by analyzing network traffic patterns. We can also speak of no-code AI, which are simply tools that allow anyone to create artificial applications without necessarily having to write technical code. We can also note computer vision technology in businesses, which is a field of artificial intelligence that trains computers to capture and interpret information from image and video data, right? This generally relies on machine learning algorithms, which are trained on certain images that teach them how to identify and to categorize, all right? We may also note creative AI. This new development in AI represents a new potential to produce art, music, poetry, plays, and even video games by the use of AI. We can anticipate more complicated and more seemingly natural creative outputs from our increasingly inventive and capable electronic pals in 2022, right? We can look at models such as GPT-4 as well as Google Bard and how they have allowed us to redefine the limits of what is possible with artificial intelligence. In the past year, we have seen algorithms get a lot better at generating illustrations, art, as well as various photorealistic scenes. And I will now proceed to show you some examples of these artificial intelligence-made art pieces, right? Consider the first one. This was actually recently entered into an art competition where it won, even after it was recognized that it was generated by artificial intelligence. I will give you a few seconds to take in the artwork, and then I will scroll to the next piece. Okay. This is the second art piece that was also generated by artificial intelligence. And this is the third and final art piece that is in my example list that was generated by artificial intelligence. If you note, There's a great deal of complexity in this image and a great deal of beauty and vibrancy as well. And my question to you to ponder and consider is that if someone had shown you this picture and then told you that it was created by artificial intelligence or by a machine, would you have believed them? Okay, so now we will just quickly proceed with certain benefits and disadvantages of artificial intelligence, and then move on to our designated speakers for the day. So we can speak of a reduction in human error. Sorry, kindly give me a moment. We can speak of a reduction in human error. Humans make mistakes from time to time. This is a fact that we all know. Computers, however, are recognized as not necessarily making these mistakes if they have been programmed correctly. Artificial intelligence can therefore significantly reduce errors and increase the accuracy and precision with which we are able to conduct our various tasks. At the same time, we can speak of, well, for example, we can speak of instances such as weather forecasting and the identification of breast cancer that have been improved by artificial intelligence. United States and British scientists actually conducted a study where they trained a computer to spot abnormalities on an X-ray images of nearly 29,000 women. Separate studies used imagery from the United States and separate studies used imagery from the UK. And it was concluded that in both countries, the computers reduced instances where a cancer was either incorrectly identified or incorrectly missed. In the United States, a reported reduction of 5.7% was found in false positives, where a mammogram is wrongly diagnosed as abnormal, and a reduction of 9.4% in false negatives, where a cancer is missed outright. We can also speak of having less risks by virtue of artificial intelligence because we now have a capable, intelligent helper that can face those risks for us. Examples can be seen in when there's a need to defuse a bomb, going into space, or even in exploring the deepest parts of the ocean. Artificial intelligence also allows us to have 24/7 availability, whilst humans need to sleep and take breaks and may sometimes fall sick. We recognize that machines do not necessarily have these limitations, which can present myriad benefits depending on how they are used. We can also see the benefits of artificial intelligence in allowing us to present various innovations that will aid human beings in resolving the majority of our challenges. For example, recent advances in artificial intelligence have allowed doctors, as we noted previously, to detect breast cancer at an earlier stage. Artificial intelligence also has the benefit of being unemotional and to some extent, therefore, ensures us of unbiased decisions. At the same time, we recognize that for those repetitive, tedious jobs that we may not necessarily desire to do, we now have a suitable helper who can take on those tasks for us, freeing us to consider more creative expressions of our talents and a more effective use of our time. Generally, the disadvantages of AI are as follows: the high costs that it takes to produce such artificial intelligence and then to maintain it in terms of the hardware and software costs and what is required to stay updated and meet the latest requirements. We are talking about hundreds of thousands, if not sometimes millions of dollars. And then we have the factor of unemployment. Regardless of how much we might perhaps wish it wasn't so, to some extent, as long as machines continue to get more efficient and may continue to be more available than human workers can, we have instances of AI displacing certain occupations and in some instances, increasing unemployment, right? Because for now, instead of perhaps hiring a human to be customer service personnel, a company may choose a chatbot or a robot for that initial interaction, right? We note, however, that in as much as we do have this situation, whilst AI may be taking jobs in some sense, it is also providing jobs for those who are positioning themselves to, shall I say, take advantage of the opportunity. Okay. I also note that artificial intelligence has been said to, or there's a fear that artificial intelligence may eventually make human beings lazy. We recognize that artificial intelligence applications help us to automate various tedious and repetitive tasks, but at the same time, this lack of, let's say, memorization and problem solving can mean that we are often using our brains less and less. And there's the fear that eventually overdependence on artificial intelligence can cause problems for future generations, right? We also recognize that as machines, in as much as we say they may not have emotions, we can also say that they may not have the needed ethics or the ability to weigh the needed morals in certain difficult situations, right? We can speak of the AI singularity, which is not, or shall I say, is a concern that some people have, right? Or some scientists, some creators of AI have, that with the rapid progress of artificial intelligence, we may one day have a situation where that artificial intelligence may have grown beyond the ability of humanity to necessarily control, right? In speaking of artificial intelligence in the law, I note that as at the end of 2021, the number of bills that have included artificial intelligence has increased significantly from just one in 2016 to about 18 in 2021. Right? The United States, the UK, and Spain are among the nations with the most laws passed. In terms of regulating artificial intelligence in Ghana, the researchers of UNESCO have identified that out of several jurisdictions that they have surveyed, findings indicate that there's little to no policy, legislative or regulatory position in any of those African countries surveyed, including Ghana, with regards to artificial intelligence. So we can say that generally, there is no known legal or regulatory framework around artificial intelligence in Ghana. However, at the same time, we recognize that there are some existing legislations that do cover aspects of how we use artificial intelligence in Ghana. One of these laws is the Data Protection Act of 2012, Act 843. Artificial intelligence largely requires a lot of data, and the Data Protection Act, by recognizing a right to privacy, helps to ensure that a person's data cannot be taken and used for any purpose without that person's consent, right? Certain key sections that can be considered are Section 18, which requires that a person who processes personal data shall ensure that that personal data is processed without infringing the privacy rights of the data subject in an unlawful manner, and that all data that is used lawfully and reasonably. Section 20 can also be considered. Right? Essentially, firms are required to comply with the provisions of the Data Protection Act in their gathering and use of clients' personal data in AI systems. At the same time, we recognize that the Copyright Act 2005 of Ghana protects computer programs and software, which essentially forms the basis of AI technology. The Act punishes any attempt to circumvent a technological protection measure applied by a holder of an intellectual property right. Therefore, even though there are no express artificial intelligence terms used in this particular piece of legislation, we note it still makes way for artificial intelligence to thrive while protecting the users of said artificial intelligence.